Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Welcome to the 20th ETP4HPC webinar. It's almost time, so while I do the introduction, this leaves a few minutes more for more people to arrive. So I am Pascal. I'm ETP4HPC's communication manager. My colleague Maike is also here to help run the show. For those of you who are not familiar with ETP4HPC, we are a non-profit association that promotes European research and innovation in high-performance computing, HPC. We are a private member of the Euro HPC JU. That is the organization in the European Commission that addresses HPC, to put it simply. And our role is to propose research priorities for Europe in the area of HPC, of course. So before we actually start, I would like to share a few practical information with you. This webinar is recorded and you will receive the link tomorrow. This webinar is in listen-only mode, but you can ask questions. You can use the GoToWebinar control panel to ask your questions. You can do that at any time during the webinar, but we will answer questions at the end because it's better for the speakers and for everyone. Also, from the same panel, you can download handouts. You can probably see there are two handouts today. One of them is the slides, the PDF of the slides. So you can download that right now from GoToWebinar. And there is a second handout that we thought might be of interest to you, and one of our speakers will talk briefly about it. It's our strategic research agenda, the ETP4HPC's strategic research agenda. It has been issued very recently, a week ago, so you can download it here. So that's about it for practical information. So we will move on to our speakers. So our topic today is the EUMaster4HPC project, and we have invited the University of Luxembourg. They are coordinating EUMaster4HPC, so we've invited them to present the project. So I would like to welcome Eleni Liakidou, who is International Relations Officer at the University of Luxembourg, and Pascal Bouvry, food professor at the University of Luxembourg. And then we would like to focus on an aspect of EUMaster4HPC that is particularly relevant for us, for ETP4HPC, that's its connections with the industry. And for that, we have also invited Fabrizio Maguliani from E4, who is involved in EUMaster4HPC, and he's also a member of the ETP4HPC steering board. So thank you to the three of you for being here today. This is a view of the agenda. So first we'll have an overview of EUMaster4HPC by Eleni. Then Fabrizio will say some words about ETP4HPC in EUMaster4HPC, and then Pascal Bouvry will be our last speaker, and he will focus more on the relationship between EUMaster4HPC and industry. So Eleni, you're first. Are you ready?
Yes.
I will make you presenter. So now you can share your slides.
Does it work?
Yes, but it's not in slideshow mode.
Like this, it's better?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Eleni.
So thanks a lot for having us here. My name is Eleni Liakidou. I'm from the University of Luxembourg. I'm project officer of the European Master for HPC. First of all, I will speak about the structure of the consortium, then going through the objectives of the project, and end this presentation with the study program itself. Well, this project of the EUMaster4HPC is funded by the EU HPC joint undertaking with a budget of 7 million euros over the 7 years. Most of the funds go to the students, which is something we call mobility grants, as students have to finance also their mobility in their second year. And we have all over 21 participant countries. The consortium and partners brings together actually let's say, a big part of the EU HPC community. It's a unique partnership between European universities, research and some supercomputing centers, and of course, industrial partners. We have more than 100 entities and we are growing. Only the last weeks, we had 4 requests of different laboratories, but also universities, partners, academic partners to join this, this project. The objective of the project is, of course, to train the next generation of HPC experts in Europe by providing a pan-European master program on HPC. We want to give them distinct qualifications and outstanding career possibilities in a very rapidly expanding field of HPC. To create a joint curriculum, we are either producing new courses contents or sharing already existing courses. We also produce new methodologies and materials. And of course, we are going to provide country-specific specializations during the second year of studies for the students. Thanks to the experience and resources we have among this consortium, I would say that it is a rather very fluid procedure and very interesting to see how it's rapidly getting very structured. It's a study program as we know it on European level. It has 120 ECTS to gain for the students on a duration of 2 years. Students have to do a mobility during these 2 years, allowing them to get degrees from at least 2 universities. This is very important here. Plus this study program, they have thematic workshops to go through and also a summer school between year 1 and year 2 of their studies. A second objective, of course, also very important next to the master program studies, it's the employability of our graduates. How did we do this? One of the first steps to guarantee this, how did we do this? The first steps is that we did a needs analysis of skills on the labor market, and we adapted actually the courses which we have now in the courses catalog. We would also like to integrate into the study program reliable relations, not only between the universities, which are already existing with these relations, but also towards research or industry. And finally, we would create a sustainable network. Students have in the first year to acquire certain skills and studies. As our students come from different backgrounds, from natural sciences or engineering or computer sciences, an essential part of the study program in the first year is mathematics, so that they have the possibility to solve and define problems in science and engineering. With the HPC, they will then be able to do simulations to understand more complex problems in their domains. We want also our students to have software engineering skills in order to be able to integrate the HPC engineering tools into the HPC architecture properly. Parallel programming will enable them to speeding up the arithmetics computing into the parallel architecture. And finally, of course, parallel architecture, especially of CPU and GPU or other computing architectures, is essential also that they can integrate then into research in production. Next to the fundamentals, as already said, we have also specializations. So the awarding universities want to concentrate actually on these 4 specializations. Is a numerical and data analyst for science domains. This means that these specialists then will be able to use HPC applications in a specific domain. So, the performance analyst can parallelize the code given on parallel architectures, focus on one or more domain. And of course, as there are plenty tools available in different sciences, natural sciences and engineering, the students will have to be able to integrate them into HPC machines and must also be able to maintain them over the time. So system development and support is here also an important specialization. And last but not least, what we presently noticed is actually an evolution of new architecture trends in the CPU, GPU, but also in FPGA and quantum computers. So therefore, it is very important to study all these architectures as well and to be able to further go on in research and production. So I will come to my last slide, which is actually only to give you a reminder how the academic journey will be. Once again, during the first year, students will study the fundamentals of HPC, then go on the second year on mobility to the second university of their choice, having though their specialization during semester 3 and 4. And semester 4, which is also important to know, is that students will have to do a research or industry internship. And once again, during these 2 years, there will be a summer school in the middle, as you can see, and also other academic activities like workshops. And I think that Pascal Bouvry will explain it better, how you can integrate into the different academic activities. That's all from my side. Thanks a lot for listening to me, and please don't hesitate to contact me if needed.
Thank you. Thank you, Eleni. So, Fabrizio, it's your turn. Thank you, Eleni, for this overview. Fabrizio, are you ready to go, represent the industry here? Yeah?
I am actually.
Okay, so I will hand over to you.
Please.
So while Fabrizio is getting ready, yeah, that's perfect. I mean, you don't even leave me time to make an announcement. I was going to say we are open for questions. So remember, use the question tool. You can enter your questions. I have them here. I see nothing coming for the moment, but feel free to use it. Fabrizio, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Pascal, and thanks a lot, Eleni, for this introduction. Setting the stage for my part of this talk. My name is Fabrizio Magogliani. I'm working for E4 Computer Engineering, and in this session, I'm talking on behalf of the ETP4HPC and its member. Let me say, first of all, that we are extremely interested in the program because its focus is training the next generation of experts that we as an industry may hire and bring him on board. Let me go to the first slide. I'm stating the obvious, but it is important to restate that HPC is important for Europe. It is the cornerstone of the competitiveness of our industries, of our ecosystem. And in order to stay at the level of our competitors across the world, we have to hire, we have to train, we have to build people able to design, test, validate, and run the next generations of HPC systems. This is mandatory, as I mentioned, because it is the driving of the digital transformation, and it is fully aligned with the objectives of the EU in the 2024, 2030 and beyond. Without having skilled people, we won't be able to stay at the same level of competitiveness of our competitors, as well as we won't generate the socio-economic value of HPC and its download in the socio-economical and professional market. Moving forward, this is the moment that we should take actions. The technology is having some major transformation in these very days, and just to name a few, the smart edge, the quantum computing are just the most evident technologies that will shape the next years. And we have to stay at the top of this transition and develop the new generation of people able to drive this transformation and become leader of the technology change. Moving forward, ETP4HPC is the technological driver. As I mentioned, our members have different profiles: HPC, technology players, vendors, industrial companies, small SMEs, academic research center, organizations, and individuals. We are the end users of the food chain of the training in academia and in other organizations. We are hiring these people coming out of the universities, as well as we want to keep our staff, our workforce, trained at highest level of knowledge. It is of primary importance to have people able to stay at the top of the technology and be able to drive the new products, new solutions, and new technologies in our industries, in our companies. Without them, we will drop the technology curve. And in ETP4HPC up to now has been collaborating closely with the project by highlighting the requirements of industries with respect to technical skill, technical domain, and business. We have been supporting in the selection of the first cohort of students. We have been supporting in the definition of the European Master of Science curricula for HPC based on what we have been learning in years and years of experience in the field. And we plan to support the project by embedding students and people in our industries or in our environments through internship, and having the people, the students, being on our side when we develop products and solutions, and learn by working on a daily basis with us on the problems that we face on a daily basis. This, of course, requires to have a strong background on the basics of the products and the solution and the technology, and we will add that layer of real-life experience, which is coming from having the students knowing on a daily basis the daily problems that we find to develop products and solutions. And sorry. And last but not least, we are our members, ETP and our members, are available for having our speakers in courses in research and activities and the industry's collaboration, and in supercomputer centers, which are our members, in and in other programs that we may want to put place in. Last but not least, we want to identify and address the future demand in a proactive way. We are this technological antenna that our customers and our stakeholders use to drive the technology. Therefore, we can provide also these sort of input and make sure that all the bases are covered and all the requirements are properly brought into attention of the consortium. What do we expect as an outcome? I think that the mantra is train, retrain, retain. Train new people, new talents that we will hire in our companies, in our environments. Retrain because we have a staff in our current companies which need to be maintained at the top level of expertise, because we cannot just throw away this level of expertise that has been built over the years, and retain our talents, preventing them from going outside our Europe, and we lose therefore our best talents. So the train, retrain, and retain is going to be the mantra that we will use across the board to motivate our industries, our people, our students to jump into the program. And we, ETP4HPC, want to be the catalyst of growth in the HPC industries, and educate people to leverage and harness existing technology, educate people to create, design, and develop new technology and solution, which is as important as harness existing technologies, because we have to continuously innovate the solution that we bring to the market. And in order to that, we have to use people with a vision beyond the knowledge of the existing technologies. Therefore, we have to create a class of talents able to dream, and once they've been dreaming, implement the dream that they have been dreaming. And also, we have to capitalize and transfer existing touching knowledge to new generations, because we have to maintain a continuous flow of information between the academia and the staff we have, and we have to train the workforce to keep them at the top of the technologies. Let me close with the ETP4HPC Strategic Research Agenda 5, which is out of the press quite recently, where Chapter 8, Building and Retaining Skills and Competence, is devoted to analyzing the current status of the knowledge and what are the requirements for the next years in terms of training and building knowledge. With this, with a bit of time ahead, I want to close my talk, and thanks everybody, and feel free to ask questions or send email to the addresses you see over there.
Thank you, Fabrizio. So the document you just mentioned is one of the two documents available from the handout. So you can, I mean, Fabrizio was providing the link, but you can also download it directly from GoToWebinar. So thank you, Fabrizio, for this point of view. And now I invite Pascal Bouvry to give us further information. So Pascal, yeah, you're presenter now. You should be able to share your slides.
Okay.
And in the meantime,
Do
yeah,
you
we
see
have
my...
one question already. So I just want to encourage all our attendees to ask more questions so that we get ready for the Q&A session. Yes, Pascal, we can see your slide perfectly well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Fabrizio. Thank you, Eleni, for the presentation. It makes my task way easier, so I can focus on details and examples of what we do. What I'd like also to highlight is that although we've already quite a strong consortium with I think around 100 members, and we cover these 21 countries. I remember that the feedback from EuroHPC was to say that we could be even more ambitious. And we are trying to do so that next week we'll have our General Assembly in Barcelona, and I hope that we will be able to welcome more partners, more countries. I think that Romania is also wishing to join forces, so that's one thing. And also for industry, the more we are, the better we are. One of the things that differentiate our project with the other project was also not to just make yet another dual diploma or collaboration between a set of universities, but really to put the universities with the EuroHPC or the supercomputing centers and the academy, industry and academy together to start defining what would be the body of knowledge for HPC. So what is really required to say, okay, you're HPC expert, what are the different expertise, and also specialization. So that's what we've been aiming at. So in the project, so we said we like to have this really co-design with the industry of the program. Fabrizio has been already showing that ETP4HPC has been already very largely involved and very proactive in this context. Also the student selection, the student internship, the joint labs, the test beds, and more. So it's really very nice work, and I think kind of unique the way we'd like to work with industry and academia together in this program. So we've defined the work in different work packages. The work package 1 is about coordination of the project and communication. The University of Luxembourg is in charge of that one. WP2 is the one working on the definition of the program. So that's where we've been doing, and I think that Lenny already mentioned that we've been looking at all existing job advertising for academy and for industry, and then also thinking about what the future job demands might look like, turning that into a set of skills that would be necessary to match the demand, and then defining this in terms of set of learning outcomes which are resulting in a curriculum. And one of the things also I'm insisting on is that we are trying to also define this curriculum in a modular way. So I think that this will be also really helpful if later on we like to do this upskilling, reskilling, and so on, and maybe turn part of this curriculum into lifelong learning activities. So WP3, that is the next one to start when we with this the gaps somehow in terms of the current offer of lectures. So building new lectures, not only let's say in a classical way, but also trying to be innovative. So use the new technologies. We have the idea also of having this co-teaching. So having maybe different lecturers working together on this. And then WP4 is about the organization of the two cohorts of students, and then of course industry representatives have been included also in the selection of the students. WP5 is about the internships, and there again companies are playing a key role. As the students will go for the last semester for internship. Could be in a company, could be in supercomputing centers, or for some also would like maybe to continue for PhD and so on in a research lab. We have opportunities for sponsoring the students, having some competitions, some challenges. We are organizing this set of workshops and summer schools. And now I'm going to give you a couple of examples of the upcoming workshops. So there is one on November 30, organized by UPC, and topic will be careers in HPC and parallel programming. So I guess, again, industry is really active into that context. And the one from Sorbonne University on December 12, which is also discovering careers in partnership with local companies, so supercomputing research centers. I think that this can be really helpful first for the students, but also maybe for companies to start checking if there is some synergies that could be set by participating to this kind of events. One of the major events for this year would be also the summer school. So we selected the one from the French node that will be so in the Alps, and the idea there would be also to involve industry. And just to show you in the proposal, there were a couple of key industry that are currently being involved: Cyber, NVIDIA, Atos, and then also a set of think tanks and activities and so on. So basically, industry is really everywhere in the program, and we are working very closely together. Now we have this Euro HPC Summit. We think that it would be a good opportunity to present also our students to the summit, and we want them not only to be like presenting themselves, but also to be participating. So they will help for the organization of the summit. They will also participate in some competition, poster session, and so on. And there also we look for ideas for maybe for the competition, but also sponsoring of the industry for some of these students. I must advertise that our third generation of students, we've been extremely careful of taking the best of the best, la crème de la crème. So taking students who already got some more acquaintance with HPC, who have been, for instance, involved in an ISC competition and so on. So I think that for companies, this is a very good source of talents there. And more like Fabrizio was talking about SRA 5 and also opportunities to provide seminars as part of the programs. So for instance, I already concluded some agreement with IBM for the quantum computing part for the local specialization in Luxembourg, but this could be repeated with other companies and in other places, so that basically with the classical lectures where a professor is taking care of the exams and so on. But we could have seminars where the companies are presenting their technology, and in that case also having really hands-on experience with their technology. Some of the events that we are going to organize will be broadcast, so people can really also have a look. It could also help to make some additional marketing for your companies. Some of the modules material, and this is something that is also for me very important, could serve for lifelong learning certificates. We could imagine also that with notion of things like microcredits, so that when people have a set of certificates, this could be turned into a full master and so on. So, but at this stage, so I think this is part more of the WP6. So what would be coming after the master, but we don't want to wait for 4 years to start new opportunities. So I think that already also in the SRA we put the importance of lifelong learning as something to be organized, and we don't have to wait again for the 4 years to start reusing part of the modules, part of the material that you are going to build, adapt them also, of course, for different kind of audience. But I think it's very useful way of doing things and so on. So that's the also the fact of opportunity to detect the talents for the future job needs. So working closely with our students can definitely help also in that direction. So who to contact if you like to know more? So we have our central contact point, Eleni, who is the project manager for the consortium. But as we are now in the ETP4HPC seminar, ETP4HPC is a really full partner of the consortium. It's maybe the right way also to organize the input from the industry. And also feel free just to go for different work package leaders, task leaders. One of the things, so I was showing the upcoming summer school, but be aware that soon there will be calls for the next summer school. So if your companies would like to propose something, work with some consortiums, we can establish contact points, and we are definitely looking for strong proposals in that direction too. So thank you again, and I think that I'm done with my slideshow, and I will let back the hand to Pascal.
I'm taking back control. Yeah. So now it's question time. We have a few questions already, so maybe we'll start from that. So to the speakers, you can see the questions in the chat. If you open the chat, I'm copying the questions in the chat. That's so everybody can see them, because that's a problem with GoToWebinar. Yeah, not the audience can't see all questions, so it's a pity. So sorry, I'm copying the last question, and then I will start. Okay, so the first question was from a student, obviously, Michael Pio Basile. Hello, I'm a student in computational science and engineering MSc at TUM, that must be Technische Universität München, maybe. I would like to ask you if it is possible to convalidate some credits from my previous master degree. I guess that's a question for Eleni or Pascal. Who takes it?
I can take it.
Pascal, okay.
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 So yeah, I think it's a good question, and indeed today we've been more focusing on the language industry and not towards the students. This is also something that Eleni was mentioning, that most of the money is going to students. So we are providing student grants. We have around 50 grants for the first cohort and 100 grants for the second cohort. That would help for the mobility. The students are then selected. There are two selection committees, one which is completely independent from the awarding universities and including also industry, and the second one which is related to the awarding universities to know what would be the trajectory of the student. So the student can propose to say, okay, I'd like maybe to start with FO and then go to USI, or I'd like to start with Polytechnic of Milan and then go somewhere else. But the committee has to check what would be the right balance, and also the next part, as I mentioned, will also depend on the different specializations. So we are going to present the specializations on the fly so that the students could say, okay, maybe I don't know, I like to go for that place, but this specialization is really what I would like to do as my job later on, and I'm changing my mind. So this is choice. After that, the student will arrive to the university and will register to their university. So it could be registering to Polytechnic of Barcelona, and then they will have to follow the rules of Polytechnic of Barcelona. So in terms of saying that if this credit has been acquired, I don't know, in TU München and so on, and then looking for the particular lecture, what are the learning outcome, and the professor there will be able to decide, okay, we give you full credit for that, or different credit for that. So I don't think that it's possible just to make a full, let's say, description of all existing lectures in Europe or in the world and make the mapping. but this mapping could be made on a case by case, looking also at, thanks to the Bologna process, we have this notion of ECTS, which is one ECTS is like 25 hours of effort, and looking if the effort side is the same from one part to another part, and if the learning outcomes are also similar. So that would be the process. So
okay, thank you. So our next, so Miguel, I hope that answered your question. I think it did. So next question from Yannick Rogas is, how big will the first student cohort be? Is this for you, Pascal or Eleni?
I can take it too.
Okay.
so the target is 50. So we have 50 grants to distribute. We've been already distributing some of these grants. I think that we got the first selection of 17 students, already 9 or something, 17 students and some. But so next week we'll have the General Assembly, and we got the green light from the project officer also to make yet another call for students. So students will be able to register in the coming months. I think we'll open it in 1 month's time. And depending on the opportunities in the different university, they could register in summer, already going for next winter. Knowing that basically we work on semestrial approach, and I've been highlighting now the grants, which are basically also only for, unfortunately, for students of the participating member states of the EuroHPC. But we welcome also self-funded students who would like to join, and would be, for instance, from non-EU. So knowing that for non-EU students, there might be some more administrative burden. So that's why we'd like already to start maybe taking some candidature for the next winter.
Thank you, Pascal. So there is another question also from Yannick Rogas, but I think you partly answered that question. How are research and industry partners selected for internships, and how is the application process for students streamlined?
Yeah, my guess is that I answered the second part, and
yes,
the application
I think
process.
so. So maybe the first part, how are research and industry partners selected for internships?
Yes, so as I mentioned, the second year will be linked to the specializations. And so we have a central management of the internships done at the level of WP5, which is organized by Sorbonne University. But of course, this central management will also take input from all opportunities that are from the different countries. So, so that's the idea.
Okay. Then there is a question from my colleague Mike Egilio. How will the master be continued after the end of the project? Ah, that's a good one.
Yes. It's an excellent one. So different levels of answers to that one. I can tell you that for instance, in Luxembourg, we cannot just say, okay, we're going to create a master for 2 years or for 3 years. It's something that is really a long-term investment. It has been seen by the EuroHPC as some prototype with these 2 cohorts. So, but already talking with the existing 8 awarding universities, we are forcing this extension and continuing to work together. So we are going to look for additional funding from, for instance, Erasmus kind of funding for doing this. Usually for this Erasmus, you should show that there is some partnership that is already working and some. So this first EuroHPC master, we definitely have a good case study to show that hopefully we are working nicely together. But then also there are many things that we'd like to do is about extending this opportunity, not only to the 8 awarding universities, but we already got contacts, as I was mentioning, Romania, but could be Poland also, wishing to start adopting the master. So next week we are going to work on the definition of what could be the joint diploma, and also we are now working, and Eleni is making a fantastic job in that context, on many different dual diplomas that require some strong partnerships between the different universities, and so on. So I think that each university, one thing that was already also highlighted by Eleni, most of the money is already coming in kind from the university. So it is a strong will from the universities to pursue this track. And then we'll be reinforcing that with or prolonging that with the Erasmus, and then extending it to other partners. One idea would be also to think about some kind of accreditation. So to say, okay, this is compliant to what we've been defining as the fundamentals and matching your EuroHPC level or not. And again, the approach that we are pursuing is really open door approach. So say, okay, if you like to join forces, you're welcome. There's some maybe some procedure, like when you like to join ETP4HPC, you need to present yourself and check what can be done together and so on. But the idea is really to reinforce and extend the consortium. So.
Okay, thank you, Pascal. And then we have another question from Michael Pio Basili. We seem to get questions mostly from students. So he asked, what kind of connection exists between students in this master and the main supercomputer centers in Europe? In general, by experience, it's not always easy to get machine time on these supercomputers. So during the courses, would there be chances for students to get access to these supercomputers? That's a very good question too.
Yeah, it's
so
an
Pascal, it's you again.
Yes. So it's an excellent question. Indeed, so when we started, we got all the EuroHPC centers being partners of the consortium. There was the question raised about the access time. You know that EuroHPC paid 35% of the petascale solutions and 50% of the pre-exascale solutions and the future exascale solutions. So for instance, at the EuroCC level, so the competence center, we got now the authorization and the way of using the, how is it called, the development and benchmark programs from PRAISE to get access to the machines. So some of the centers are university-based centers. I'm thinking, okay, I was mentioning Barcelona, and there's strong link between UPC and BSc. So we are working also with IT for Innovation. So Wiet van Drak, the director of IT for Innovation, is one of the advisors of the program and so on. So for some of these, let's say, public centers, the access is already kind of open for the students. For some others, we might go from press access or the future. I think that EuroHPC is going to really centralize all the access codes. Currently also hiring experts for evaluating the files.
Let me chime in for this call. Well, I think that it should be highlighted that the objective of the program is not granting time on computer systems, large computer system, but creating the people who will design and manage and run these large installation. So the granting compute time is just functional to people understanding how this large system is going to work and how to design the next generation.
Yes,
and
yes.
As Pascal mentioned,
that's why I was referring indeed to the development and benchmark access, not to the production access. That was a good question at the beginning when we start setting up the program, should we target, I don't know, physicists or biologists who are going just to use existing software? And the solution that we took was to say, no, we'd like to let's say, put the focus on the persons, on the people, on the talents that are going to develop the next generation of software, the next generation of architectures, and so on. So the idea is to tell them how to write scalable code, and not just to I don't know, burn energy, as energy is very expensive nowadays. And also how to write sober code.
Okay, so we have more questions coming in. So the next question is from Adrian Srebny. What will be the form of this master's program? Is it full-time or part-time? Will the classes and projects be conducted online or face-to-face? It would be great for the program to offer the students as much flexibility as practically possible, especially for people who already work in the field and want to do this MSc concurrently and combine it with a full-time job. Thank you in advance for your answer and for the great work you have already done on this project. So I didn't want to miss the last part. Okay, so who can answer this about the form of this master's program, and also, and that's a point really related to today's topic, the possibility to do it in parallel with a job. So who takes the question?
You take it, Eleni?
I see the questions in the chat.
Yes,
Eleni?
thank you. Yes. Well, for now, it is a full-time 2 years master's studies. So we are working, of course, on a flexibility in terms of that we will integrate into this master program a Moodle, where teaching material will, of course, be available also after having the courses given from teachers, but for now it is really a full-time master's program. As I said, it's a 120 ECTS. As Pascal said, we are thinking about more and more, and then let's say 1 or 2 years, to be able also to include more and more courses contents which can be used then from people who are in work, for example, doing further education studies, but for now it is not possible. Yes, it is the beginning of something which will last a bit longer, so we need some time to develop this. We are at the very beginning of something.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question for the moment is a question from Tommaso Cecchi. Could you please elaborate a bit more on how industry and tech companies can provide any value here? So who takes it? Fabrizio?
Voilà, à la français. Thanks, Tommaso, for the question. I think that industries are bringing a lot of background knowledge, matter-of-fact expertise, and know-how. This is a valuable asset for the new generations and the people who will be called to design the next generation of the system. The value industries bring is being able to influence the curricula of the classes, as well as the overall training shape of the students to generate those skills that will be used almost immediately as soon as the students are working in a real environment. In order to do this, we as ETP are building this list of industries available to embed in their organization, internship, and so on. And the list that Pascal has been showing of the companies contributing to the summer school, I think, are just the first of a list of engagement of industries in these projects. We have a big value. We have to exploit the knowledge that our people in the industries have to make sure that the outcome will be not a very scientific type of curricula, nothing against the very scientific type of curricula, but something that we can use to increase the competitiveness of our industrial and scientific ecosystem.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Now we have a very practical question from a student, certainly. Please, is it possible to provide us a rough idea about what the student grants comprise? For example, tuition fees, support to participate in conferences, scholarships, etc. So is it possible, Eleni, I think it's maybe more for you.
Yeah.
Can you share this information or?
Yes, of course we can share it. So as we said, the biggest part of the whole budget of this program goes to this, what we call mobility scholarships. So students get a certain sum when they start, and also the tuition fees are waived between the universities. It means that if a student goes from one university to another to do its mobility, this student mobility scholarship covers normally with a sum the expenses towards. And it also should cover the participation into workshops we set, which were during the first and the second year. Fortunately, I think participating into conferences is something which is very related with a huge fee. So this will not cover, because conferences are not a part of the academic calendar. But we are closely working, of course, with the EUHPC for joint undertaking, and I think there are other things which will be developed. So yes, there are fees, so student tuition fees waived, and students receive a certain amount of scholarship so that they can cover their mobility between the universities.
Okay, well, thank you, Eleni. I hope that answers the question. So I don't see any other question coming in. Let me check. No other question, but we've had a lot of questions. Actually, I don't think we'd ever had that many questions in one of our webinars. So a lot of interest from students, maybe not so much from industry, Fabrizio, but we did get a question about it. But yeah, obviously the subject was very interesting for our audience. So I don't see any questions coming in. So unless we get a last minute one right now, I think we will close. Where it's almost time anyway. So I would like to give a big thank you to our three speakers for their presentations and for the Q&A, because we had a long Q&A. So that was great. I think our audience really liked it. So thank you, Eleni. Thank you, Pascal. Thank you, Fabrizio. And thank you to our audience for being here today. I just wanted to mention the next ETP4HPC webinars. We are going to have a series of webinars dedicated to our strategic research agenda, the document that was introduced by Fabrizio earlier on. And so in December, we'll have two webinars that will explain about the SRA, of course, but that will also focus each on one area of the SRA. So if you have an interest in I/O and storage, that's on the 2nd of December. And if you are interested in federating HPC cloud and data infrastructures, this will be on the 16th of December. You will get the link to register in the email you will get after the webinar. So no worry, you'll have the information. So thanks again to everyone, and hope to talk to you on the 2nd of December, of course, because I will be there. Thank you.
We too.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Salut Pascal.